What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Moving to Florida show. I am your host, Judson, joined by my co-host, Mohit Badlani.
What's up? What's up?
And we are working remote today. We had some little camera snafu, so we can't see each other. There might be a little bit of lag in communication.
It's my camera has been acting up for the last few days, so
that's okay. I am lagging as well. Today is a counting day, so I've been working on catching up on crunching all the numbers and figures. Mo and I were just talking about how we need to do this, at least monthly probably, and we end up doing it once a year.
Yeah, we all got our paperwork for our taxes, so we've all started that process. Some things we should have tracked. Some things we should have tracked more. Some things we just don't track anymore.
Right. Well, technology does it for you, right, Mo?
Yeah, technology does a lot for us. Exactly.
This is part of being self-employed, folks, is we got to keep up with things because we need those write-offs, right?
Absolutely. As many write-offs as I can.
Well,
legally.
We did not come here today to talk about tax write-offs. We came to talk about how Florida's real estate market is crashing. Doom and gloom.
Doom and gloom. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, maybe is the Florida real estate market crashing or going to crash? Or are we just in a little shift? What do you think, Mo?
I think we're just in a little shift, man. I don't see it crashing. I think the first market crash, I think we've learned our lesson from that, and I'm sure the banks don't want to put people in foreclosures and short sales and stuff like that. It costs them a ton of money to do that. It's actually a loss if they go into foreclosure. But we don't need an influx of foreclosures.
Yep, for sure. And foreclosure rates are still down, I believe. They're still, somewhat lower than even the norm, which is kind of interesting. We definitely want to reference some, facts and statistics as we do this, but I think, also what we are observing just generally in the market is important too, since we're both, boots on the ground realtors here in Florida. We see a lot of what's happening day to day and can get have a good idea. And I know we've talked about, market crashes and stuff like that on the pod before. And, I think, Mo, what you're referencing there is, talking about the banks not wanting to foreclose. We've discussed this before. All of the people that have bought homes over the last few years are, they qualified for those loans that they got. And up until the last, 8 months, they were at a killer low interest rate. So, unless they got an adjustable rate, which those are probably still years out from adjusting, most of those people are going to be just fine. They're not going to be at a point where they're losing their homes. They're still able to pay their mortgages, which are probably lower than what market rents are today anyway. So, we still have less homes hitting the market because people don't want to sell because, again, they have to go somewhere and, they have to get a new mortgage or with a higher interest rate or pay today's, rents, which are higher. So, I don't think that we're going to see just a glut of foreclosures. Have prices adjusted down a little bit? Yeah, it does appear so. We have seen a little bit of dip in prices, but far from a crash. I think we used the word a minute ago, shift. We've seen things shifting, or a correction is the word that some people will use.
Right.
Prices correcting and coming back down a little bit to something a little bit more reasonable. But we're still only at about 3 months of inventory on market now.
Seller's market is still strong. It's still a seller's market.
Yeah, so we were, back, 2 years ago. Well, it's been 2 years ago since we started this podcast. When we were doing those quarterly market updates, it seemed like, the inventory kept shrinking down and down. We were at 2 months, then we were at a month and a half, and then we were at 1 month of inventory. And if you've been listening for a while, guys, you know that what they say is a healthy market is 6 months of inventory. So we started to go back that other way. More inventory is piling back up. But it's still only at about 3 months. We're still not considered to what's considered a normal market for inventory here in Florida.
Yeah, I agree with you there. We don't have the inventory. We don't have extremely high interest rates. We still have pretty decent rates. I think the rates have been fluctuating between 5 and 6 this past couple of weeks. But like you said, there is a market shift. definitely a market shift. Buyers are getting deals on their homes. They're not getting like, huge amount of of cuts on the price, the housing prices, but they're still getting, deals. You're still getting, closing cost assistance if you need it. You're still getting, getting the seller to help you with the rate buy down if you need it. Sellers are being a little bit more flexible now too. Now that we've been in this somewhat of I don't want to say a slumping market, but a shifting market. So sellers are also feeling that and noticing it, and they're still profiting. They know they're still profiting out of the house, so that's why they're being a little bit more flexible.
Yeah, I think looking at it from the perspective of someone who is selling a house, here in 2023, that if they bought their house anywhere probably before 2020, 2019, right, they're well positive into equity. They got plenty of equity. Yeah. They can cover their closing costs, real estate commissions, whatever, and they're still walking away from the table with money. Maybe right, they're not selling the house as much as they could have if they had sold in, April, May, June of 2022. Maybe they're not getting quite as much, but they're still way more than what they paid for the home. So, I mean, that's certainly, from the seller's perspective, I didn't maximize it, but I'm still walking away with a good chunk of money. So it works out for the seller. And, from the buyers, like you just said, Mo, they're getting a discount from the asking price, or they're getting closing cost help from the seller if they need it, or maybe both, or maybe they're actually able to do an inspection, which, we're not in that era of waived inspections like we were for a little while.
Yeah.
They're able to do an inspection and then actually request repairs if there's stuff that the home really needs, and the seller will agree to do it. I had a deal like this. I'm under contract on one. We just finished inspections last week, and we were able to negotiate $12,500 off of the asking price. And then we came back with a list of repairs for the seller. My buyer was very adamant that they wanted these things done. Some of them weren't honestly even that big of a deal. Some stuff like the water heater was over 20 years old. Okay, understandable. They wanted that replaced. But, there were some cracks in the garage and little stuff like this. But the buyer said, no, I want it done. And you know what? The seller agreed to do it. So, stuff like that is happening too. The buyers certainly have a lot more leverage than they did 6-8 months ago.
Yeah, 6-8 months ago, the seller could have said, go kick rocks. I'm not fixing anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if you did an inspection, you did it without having any inspection period on your contract, because a lot of the homes in the last 2 years, we've been saying, hey, we're not going to do an inspection contingency, but home buyers still want to do an inspection. They want to know what they're getting into. Whether or not they request any repairs or anything for the last couple of years, it really doesn't matter. The sellers held all the cards at that point.
Right
now,
right.
The buyers and the sellers both are in a positive way. So buyers are getting a deal and getting certain things they want done in the house, and sellers are still, profiting.
Yep. Well, Mo, let's just look at a little bit of data. How about that? We pulled up the Sun Stats. This is one of our realtor tools from Florida Realtors here. Unfortunately, there's always a little bit of lag in the data coming in, but we're looking at December of 2022 is the most recent data that we have, and this is statewide. So we don't have January's data yet. I will definitely be interested to see how the numbers look. This is something we're going to be tracking, but I did think this was pretty interesting. Sales are definitely down. December of 2021 across the state, just in the single family home category, there were 29,988 homes closed in December of 2021. In 22, that was down to 19,158. 36% decrease in the number of homes that sold. That is definitely a huge decrease. Now, December is always a little bit slower than the other months, but thinking back to December of 2021, that was not the case. It was very heated.
It was gangbusters,
right?
It was gangbusters.
Yeah, it was definitely a unique market. So, I don't have, say, what 2020, which also would have been crazy, but maybe a normal December of 2019. It would be interesting to see what that looked like, and I would be willing to bet it was probably closer to this 19,000 number than the 29. So I think, we're probably looking at more of a normal, market. In both 2021 and 2022, about 30% of the transactions were in cash. So not a lot changed there. But the median sale price did go down a little bit. I thought this one was interesting. Median sale price $395 in December of 2022. It was $373,990 in December of 2021. So no, I take it back. It went up. That average price went up.
Yeah. It went up almost 22,000.
Yeah, the median sale price went up. It was the average that went down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the median price went up about 5.6%, which is really, really good, because we saw that consistently all of last year, where the median prices were going up. I think it did dip because it was in the 400s, so it may have dipped, and now I think it's coming back up a little bit.
Yeah, I think mid-year is probably when it peaked. It was I do recall that it was in the low 400s. So we've seen it start to come down a little bit. So we've seen some decreases, year over year it's up. But if we look over the last 12 months, a little bit of a peak about mid last year. But yeah, that's quite interesting. Certainly not a crash of any magnitude that we're seeing there.
You would have seen that number dip dramatically. The median sale price would have dipped dramatically.
Yeah. Now, here's one that I thought was interesting. The percent of original list price in back in 2021, 100%. On the median percent of original list price was 100%.
Yep.
Which is crazy. That means that there were some that were a little bit under, and there were some that were a little bit over, probably.
Yep.
But as a whole, they were right at 100%. But now, when we look at December 2022, only 95.5%. So that means we've dipped well under what the asking price is. Again, as we've been saying, we're not in that market of things going just way over the asking price.
Right. And that's only about 4.5% dip. But that does mean it's buyers are still getting prices that are less than the list price. So, I mean, for example, like you said, if the house is listed for $300,000, you're probably going to get it for $295.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's basically what the simple math is on that.
Yeah. Now, here's another one that's interesting to me. New listings coming on market. All right. Yeah. In December of 2021, we had 23,000 new listings come on market. But in 2022, only 19,000 new listings came on market. About 3,500 less homes were listed in that time frame. So yes, inventory is getting to they're sitting on market a little bit longer, but there are less new listings coming on market. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
And another thing that stood out on this is median time of contract. So last year, we were looking at, once you put your home on sale, you were under contract within 24 hours. But it says the average was 12 days, or not the average, the median was 12 days. Now it's 34 days. So homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer than usual. So it's about, not a little bit, significantly longer. It's 183%. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's, that is the thing now. Back a year and a half ago,
back in the day,
if it was a nice listing and it was priced right, flying off of the shelf. Now it can be a nice listing, and if it's really priced competitively, it's still going to fly. It's still going to move quick.
You're still getting multiple offer situations on correctly priced home.
Yeah, I think one thing that we are seeing a lot from sellers is they are still sitting in that, early 2022, 2021 market, and they think that they're going to get, $20,000 more than the last home in the neighborhood sold for, and we're just not there anymore. And, they price the homes like that, and they do sit, and that's definitely dragging this average days on to contract. It's dragging it up for sure.
Yeah. That's what it is. I think some sellers are still thinking they can get $40,000, $50,000 more than the value of their home, and they're listing at that price. Not only are they listing it at that price, the agent that they're getting is listing it at that price. I mean, if you have a savvy realtor and a realtor who's knowledgeable, he's going to definitely tell the seller, Mr. Seller or Miss Seller, that's not the market we're in right now. We can't list it $40,000-$50,000 above the value of your home. First of all, most homes now have appraisal contingencies because those are back. Now, if your home doesn't appraise, that means either you're going to do one of two things. They're going to cancel the contract, or B, you're going to have to come down.
Yep, absolutely. Mo, how are appraisals looking to you these days, by the way? Have you seen any issues with homes appraising? Of course, we know that buyers are getting their appraisal contingencies, like you mentioned, but
right.
No issues with things appraising?
No issues with at least my listings or my purchases. We haven't had any appraisal issues, but certain homes that we've seen with my clients that we know that are overpriced, and I'll tell them, hey, this is overpriced by whatever, X amount of dollars. So if you're planning on purchasing this house, it's not going to appraise. So we can give them a offer which is the correct value of the home, and see what the seller says, or we just have to walk away. So
right, absolutely.
We're coming with the buyers. With sellers, sometimes what happens is with sellers, I don't know if you do this, but if the seller is really adamant about putting it above the price, above the value of the home, I'll tell them, hey, if you don't have any showings, we don't have any contracts, we don't have any kind of activity in the house, in less than 14 days, you're going to bring the price to the value I think your house will sell at. So I always try to put that in the contract. Not in those words, though.
with kinder words, I see.
With kinder words.
So where do we go from here, Mo? Like I said, I'm interested to see what January numbers are going to look like. We're always watching this stuff. We can see that the market has slowed down for sure, but buyers are still out there. And I guess Mo, let's talk about what we're seeing right now on the market. Personally, I think here as we record, we're right at the beginning of February. We're first week of February. I think I'm starting to see it heat up a little bit. I think the demand is coming back. Yeah. Interest rates are definitely looking good. They were the last time I spoke to a lender about it, they were in the 5s, and they were like, hey, we're mid 5s right now. A few months ago, we were mid 7s. It's a big difference. And
that's why I think buyers are coming out. Like you're saying, that's the reason I think buyers are starting to come out and be like, hey, you know what? Instead of fighting it and trying to wait it out until it comes down to maybe 3% or 4%, let's just go find our house right now. And I think a lot of them are being educated by either realtors or what the market is telling them is they're being educated and be like, hey, you know what? Go out there, get your deal, get into the house, and then worry about the interest rates and the refi.
Yeah, absolutely. And, some of it too could just be that they've gotten used to the higher rates too. I mean, this is something that we talked about before is I think that, it's going to take some time for people to get used to these higher rates. But once they do, which I think they have now, they've gotten used to the higher rates, and then the rates came down. A lot of people are going, oh, hey, now is the time to go ahead and do this. And it is true too. When we talked about seller credits and stuff like this, rate buy downs have been big too. I mean, there's that 2-1 rate buy down program that's happening a lot. It gives people a couple of years at a lower rate to refinance. So, certainly if you can get something like that, it's a good opportunity.
Yes. Yes, and I agree with you there that I am also seeing the market starting to heat up. I'm getting my buyers calling me back again and saying, hey, you know what? Let's go start looking again. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of renting. And my rent value has just gone up. my rent just went up another $400 or $500 and say, hey, you know what? I might as well buy a house.
Yep. So, obviously interest rates are very, very hard to predict. We tried to do that once before. It did not work well. But again, nobody could have seen where, rates were going to go, late last year.
Right.
Certainly couldn't have expected that they were going to go as high as they did this year. I'm glad they're getting down to a point that's more comfortable. But Mo, do you think we might get back under 5% this year?
I think I'm going to stick with my last prediction, last week's prediction. I think it might go down a little bit more. I think you were going to see it in the 4s very, very soon. I think we're going to see that in probably April, May. We're going to see those numbers in the 4s, in the mid to high 4s, maybe low 5s. But yep. I have a feeling that's coming.
I feel like it is too, and I also feel like the demand is really going to flood back in if that happens. Yeah. So, guys, definitely, if you are planning on moving to Florida this summer, I'd suggest go ahead and start looking. Start hunting at least so that you know what's out there and you can be ready. And right. If things really do start heating up as interest rates go down, which we kind of expect they will, you can be ready to go ahead and get something locked down so you're not, like those folks that moved here in 2020 and 2021 that were having to put in $30,000 over asking, competing with 50 other offers. You don't want to be in that boat. It's not easy. It's not easy for us as agents either.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can get something going before then, if you're really planning on moving to Florida in 2023, get that plan into action now.
I agree with you. Get that plan, start looking, see what's out there, what you like, what you don't like, drive around certain areas that you feel like you want to spend your time there, and take a look at what we have to offer, and then talk to a realtor. Give us a call. Give us a shout. And we'll definitely love to help you out there.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Mo, do you want to let them know where they can reach us?
Yes, sir. We want to hear from you now. You can reach us on our Moving to Florida show hotline by dropping a voicemail or texting us at 407-900-5859, or drop us a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Moving to Florida Show. And for Twitter, our handle is at Moving to FL Show. If you'd like to connect with us, if you have any questions, or if you need a realtor in Florida, you can reach us at movingtofloridashow@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to the show if you like our contents, so that it would automatically download to your device and get you one step closer to moving to Florida.